Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are looking at a seriously fascinating piece of domestic aquarium drama today. We're drawing straight from this super captivating entry in the blog Notes on Fishkeeping. It's actually amazing and honestly kind of hilarious just how much gripping narrative tension can exist inside a tiny glass box sitting right in someone's living room. So today, we're unpacking exactly that by taking a really close look at a highly specific aquatic ecosystem. So picture the setup for a second. You've placed the hardscape just right, you've created these cozy little nooks, curated the absolute perfect biotope, only for your brand new residents to completely ignore your five-star real estate. I mean, typical, right? But that's exactly the core mystery at the heart of our source text today. The caretaker has meticulously planned this gorgeous tank environment, complete with artificial caves that are perfectly positioned for optimal viewing. But the problem? Yeah, this carefully constructed, idyllic setup is just sitting there, totally vacant. So let's introduce our main characters. Meet pelvicachromis-pulcher, or as they're way more commonly known, the Kribensis cichlid. Now, according to a July 2026 post by the blog's author, Eng, these gorgeous West African dwarf cichlids are the main subjects of today's observation. They've just recently been introduced to the tank, so they're in that really delicate process of settling in. And, well, if you're an experienced keeper, you already know this, cichlids are notoriously opinionated about their territory, like extremely opinionated. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing that classic clash between human intention and animal instinct. On one side, we've got the intended habitat, those artificial caves proudly placed right up at the front of the glass for premium viewing. But on the other side, the actual habitat chosen by the fish, which happens to be the coral rocks located at the very, very far back of the aquarium. It's just a classic case of prime front row real estate being completely passed over for a hidden, quiet little corner. Let's break down the specific dynamics the caretaker actually observed here. There's this distinct hesitation going on, particularly from the male. He's exhibiting a very clear reluctance to occupy those front-facing artificial caves. It's almost as if he's looking out at that exposed, wide-open substrate and just deciding, nope, that is entirely too vulnerable for me. So they aren't just hiding, right? They're actively utilizing the complex structure of those coral rocks at the back to safely gauge the flow and layout of their whole new world. But, as we all know, an aquarium is never static. Things are always changing. And eventually, we hit a real turning point in our narrative here. After a whole period of this super cautious behavior, a breakthrough finally occurs. The male actually breaks cover. He starts actively roaming the broader tank. And man, that is that massive, incredibly rewarding indicator we're all looking for in aquatic husbandry, right? It means dropping stress levels and some seriously growing environmental confidence. And this brilliantly illustrates the real reward of patient observation. Eng actually notes, with what you can tell is just palpable relief, that the two fish have, quote, finally settled down with each other. That shifting dynamic in the tank, going from laying low in the coral to confidently roaming around, it resulted in a completely crucial behavioral shift, because they aren't just tolerating the tank anymore, they are literally bonding. It's like the shared experience of adjusting to their new territory has actually brought the pair together. So what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway here? Well, it points to a much broader, truly essential philosophy in animal care that we can pull directly from the text. A successful caretaker doesn't, and really shouldn't, force the animal to conform to some rigid, artificial environment. Instead, the caretaker has to adjust that environment to meet the animal's natural instincts. The fish have clearly, definitively communicated exactly where they feel safe. So now it's totally up to the keeper to listen to that silent feedback and adapt the whole layout accordingly. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable game plan. Eng actually lays out this really practical two-step adjustment based on these precise observations. Step 1, take those completely ignored artificial caves, and Eng specifically mentions a terracotta pot here, and physically move them to the back of the tank, where the fish actually want to spend their time anyway. Then, step 2, backfill those structures with substrate, because Kribensis absolutely love to excavate, and they need a secure base for spawning. Backfilling makes those caves feel incredibly stable and way more natural. It's entirely about bringing the home to the fish, rather than just stubbornly waiting for the fish to come to the home. Which really leads us right to our final thought. The ultimate hope for the caretaker here is that a comfortable, low-stress environment is going to lead to natural behaviors, and specifically, we're talking about breeding. So will these super careful environmental adjustments, moving the caves, providing all that much desired security, will they finally encourage the pair to mate? It's this delicate, totally ongoing balance of trying to create a thriving ecosystem. And honestly, it leaves us pondering a pretty big question. How often do we try to just force our own designs onto nature when simply observing, listening, and adapting could yield the exact beautiful results we're actually looking for?